you get the children of this state. So let's see here. Playable graph, get output count. Okay, so it looks like we can possibly just get this by saying animator get or playable graph dot get output count, and this is the integer of child count. Then we don't have to hard code this. We can say pick a number between that and the child count. So this way we can add, if we add more, we can just add more. Okay. I was just reading up because I was like wondering maybe if I can just, rather than doing like something like this, I could like actually just tell it to go, but this will work fine. It's a little bit more complicated to do that with the graph. So, all right. So now we're going to go in here. So now we need a trigger. I should just use a Boolean. Is talking. So let's go back to here and we'll say go here. We'll go to the state machine entry node. And we will say if is talking is true. And then we'll make a transition back. Idle. Which actually we're just going to use the exit node. So what will happen here is we'll go from idle to talking. Pick a random talk. If I'm still talking, I'm going to go back to idle really quick, but I'm still talking, so I'm going to go back to talking and pick another one. So it's just going to cycle through talking animations until I'm no longer talking. We don't need this, and we don't need that, and we don't need that. So let's... Okay, let's see if we can get this to work now. So let me think about this. So we have an animation state. So we're saying we want this animation, and we want to say animation to play. So this is not exactly accurate, but what we need is... we need a dialogue handler on the object, on the NPC in this case. So where's our buddy here? Chief Crime, right? This is starting the dialogue. It's dialogue interaction handler. So when we interact with this guy, we're going to start the dialogue, and it has access to the thing. But I think what we need is another class that's going to manage the whole dialogue interaction with the player. So we're going to go to dialogue system here, and we're going to create a dialogue controller. What else do we have on this guy? Nothing. He's just interactable, and the interaction triggers the dialogue. So let's look at let's create a dialogue controller. And what we're going to do is we're going to say that this actually is going to require a dialogue controller. And private dialogue controller equals the dialogue controller. We're going to set it in awake. And instead of doing this, we're going to say dialogue controller start dialogue. And we're not even going to store the dialogue here. So we're just going to call start dialogue. So we're going to go here. Namespace, Sayonara, dialogue system. Okay. We're going to put copy. We're going to put this here. We're going to move our dialogue reference over here. Make this public. Okay. Now what else do we need? It would be nice if we had a header references, a reference to our animator. Private animator. And we can say public void play animation string animation, right? And in this case, if animation we want to play equals talking, actually, talking. Otherwise, actually, what did we use in the thing? File, open recent rhyme. We used talking and idle. So idle, talking is talking equals false, is talking equals true. Now there's probably a better way to do this, but I just want to see if this will work. And we're also going to create a new function, void end dialogue. And when we end dialogue, we're going to make sure we set this to false. Make sure he stops talking. Okay. Actually, we can say play animation, idle, and if animator's null, do a safety check. Return. And here we can do a safety check if dialog text is null. We're going to return there too. Okay. So we go back to, oh. Right. So now we no longer need to pass this in, because we're referencing it locally. Let's go to our buddy. Let's add our dialog controller, set our text prime, and then set the animator. Okay. Let's see if this works. Okay, he's now in his new goblin idle phase. I don't know what he's doing. Doesn't look like he's talking. Where is he? He's an idle. Oh, because I'm so dumb. We didn't actually wire this up. All right, so now that we have this, instead of passing the dialog text, we're going to pass the dialog controller to the start dialog. So we want to expose the dialog text. So we're going to do public text asset dialog text. And then we're going to pass this. And then this becomes dialog controller. Controller. Dialog text. Okay. We'll fix that in a second. Oh, okay. It's dialog text dot text. That's what we're missing. Okay. All right. However, However, it'd be nice to have a reference to our private static dialog controller, current controller, equals controller. So now that we have that, and then in here we'll say current controller equals end dialog. Yep, that's what we'll call it there, and then we set it to null. So now when we do up here, we can say current controller play animation, animation to play. So now we've wired that up. And we could also use the same thing for sound. So like if Emily wants to like voice the character or something, or we have other voice actors that want to voice. It's working. Went back to idle. I don't know why the player dialog isn't coming up. We have to look into that. He's only picking 0 though. He's always picking the first one, so we're gonna have to look at that. Okay. Alright, a couple of things we're gonna look at. So first of all, this should be the default state. Second of all, we should go in here. Very funny. Random talk 0. This should be on state enter. Let's see what this is. Debug.log child count. And then random index. Okay. Slow Dive, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. Okay, so he's idle. Child count 1. Oh, that's the problem. Okay. So this is not working the way we were hoping. So actually, let's just do child count, serialized field, private child count equals 1. Give it something, and then here we can set it. Set the value. We know there's 4 children. So we'll just do it that way. Yeah. Okay. Let's try it now. So maybe we should change it to a trigger Let's delete this. On talk. And then make this the trigger. And then let's go back to our controller here and say set trigger on talk. And then we don't actually we don't need this. And actually this can be moved to a constant. Close on, yep, on talk trigger. But this should actually be a read-only integer static. And then this will be animator.string to hash. Okay. On talk trigger. Okay. So now he shouldn't loop. He should just, every time you click, he'll animate and then he'll go back to idle. Okay, so let's go back to Inkle here for a second. So we want to do this. We want to do this. We don't need to do this anymore. He's talking. We don't need to send him back to idle. We don't need to send him back to idle. We don't need to send him back to idle. Let's save this, export this to Grime. Okay. Hey you, thanks for coming. Continue. Can you fix it up? Make it better? Oh. Okay, so that we want to fix. Yes, of course, what can I do? We now get the quest in the dialogue. Great. I'll need you to clean out the entryway and build 3 chests. I think that looks really good. I've been messing around with UE5 and going from coding to blueprints and has been so you went from you were trying to do stuff in C++ first and then you decided to switch to blueprints? In my experience with UE5, which is the thing I didn't actually like about it, is I felt like they forced you to use blueprints all the time. Like even when you were coding in C++ and writing custom components, it was then into like the UE5 add-on for C#, because I don't think it's native, right? There's like a separate build you have to use C# with UE5. All right, let's fix this stupid. What is this bug? Next dialogue. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So you're saying before, when you were using Unity and your own 2D engine, you were doing all the coding. Now you're doing blueprints, and it's weird. Yeah. No, I get you. Okay, so we're getting closer. So we're just going to make this, we're going to add this here and say else. Continue button. I think we fixed it. We did a Kickstarter and made a game back in 2012. I used C# and SharpDX for rendering. Very cool. I've always wanted to write my own engine. I came close twice to actually like doing a project. Not like a elaborate thing, mind you, a very simple thing. Okay. Okay, so now we need to implement the variable that you've picked up the quest. So, way back when I was very young, early in my programming career, I was learning Java. So, came out of college, got my first job, was a Java developer in finance and banking. Working on the trading floor. So like I was writing trading applications for one of the big banks. And I was learning Java, getting pretty good with Java. And I started looking into stuff. This was, by the way, before, like, I'm trying to remember when Notch started doing like devlogs for Minecraft, like first devlogs of Minecraft. Date, like, yeah, 2009. So this was before 2009. In fact, I was out of that job by the time he started doing stuff with Java. But people were doing stuff with Java. There was like pseudo game engines on SourceForge at the time. I think was where I was looking. And there was one that I remember. I wonder if it's still around. It was like something with Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time Java engine. I don't. Something called like Light and Dark. No, I can't even find it anymore. But there was this like 2D engine that somebody was like open sourcing, and I was learning how to do it at the time and like writing 2Ds. And I would look at the code and I would try to implement my own ways, and they had render passes and all sorts of things. And then the second time I took, do I still have the, I think I do. I think that's this stuff. Hold on. Yeah. So hold on, I'll show you this stuff. This is gonna blow your mind. Okay. Way back before there were websites like Udemy and whatnot, there was this website. It's still up. They still sell courses. It was called the Game Institute. In fact, I can bring it up. This website. It looked way different back then. I still have it. I printed out the courses. That's how crazy this was. This is a course on writing a binary space partitioning engine. So it's how, like, you know, was it Quake worked? So, you know, I don't even know if you can see this. But it's like, you know, what is a BSP tree? And it's all written in C++. And the funny thing was, at the time, I did not know C++.